Welcome back. You're watching Roundtable and we are speaking to Mr. Vipula Wanigasekera. He's the General Manager of the Sri Lankan Convention Bureau, former Director of the Tourism Board and also a former diplomat. So to start from where we stopped, Mr. Wanigasekera, we were referring to different connections with tourism and soul search tourism and gems tourism and education, where we can have sort of a niche market strategy. So you also continue to write these interesting columns on the paper, the Daily News, with making these connections and letting us know how Sri Lanka can differentiate itself. So why do you write, and what is the background to the whole
I think the beginning was one day. I think I just did a piece on something which I cannot remember, and then accidentally I think it was sent to a business editor, and to my surprise, they carried it, and I'm not a professional journalist or a writer, and then they called me and they encouraged me, and why don't you write, because the purpose then I felt was that you share these things so that you leave, because I know that there are a lot of students, because my office is also situated in the hotel school building, and I see all these students coming and coming for their lectures, and most of these students are reading my articles. So I want them to get this thing into their head, because like I remember once this was my favorite article. I said the Sri Lankan smile, which is unique. Now, every country says we have the most hospitable people, that's a common thing, but it's different when it comes to Sri Lanka, because the Sri Lankan smile is unique in the sense that it does not expect anything in return, and that is true. What I'm saying is, I'm not referring to sort of a business kind of a thing where you have it's not that, but when you go out station, it has an element of sincerity, compassion, loving kindness, all that, and I'm not suggesting that we should commercialize, and but we could communicate that. I ended my presentation in India by saying that I showed a few Sri Lankans with the smile, and I said, let me tell you that when you come to Sri Lanka, I said, you ask your own Indians who have come and gone back. They were not tourists, they were not delegates, they were not visitors, they were not corporates, but they were guests in Sri Lanka. I said, that I can guarantee. So this emotional appeal has a lot of credibility, because our people fulfill that always, and that is what kept this tourism going for a long time. And also I must tell you that this Ramayana visits, which of course it's not directly related to, I would say, mice, but then Ramayana has what we call this Ram Katha, which is called a kind of a conference where they discuss this Ramayana thing. So sort of you can call it a meeting, So therefore, when we saw the potential, we started supporting the project. And in January alone, we had 1,600 visitors from India to visit the sites, Ramayana sites. Now the research findings
from January this year to now.
Yeah, and that's huge.
That's
because last year we
yes.
had 5,000. So here it's 1 month,
and 1,000.
Now what I'm saying is, it's now most of these, now we have identified 55 Ramayana sites in Sri Lanka, of which 14 sites are accessible. Now if you look at these sites, the descriptions, you can directly relate those related to the Ramayana trail. And then what is more important is that these stories are related by the people in those areas who are not even Hindus. When they say this is where Sita used to bathe, and they show the well, and during dry season all the other wells in the surrounding area go completely dry, but this is full. You see, so there is some relevance. It's not whether you have to believe it or not, but it's just that, and the Ravanas, he had aircraft, and then there were runaways, in these runaways there's a particular grass, and only that grass grow, nothing else.
So those are things that we don't know,
yeah,
but it
but
makes
when you relate,
yes.
and then document it, and then
make the connection.
It makes a connection, and then there are a huge number of Ramayana devotees, and they come in numbers. And for us, it's important because when you have a group of 200-300 people, they come as devotees, but among them there are CEOs, there are general managers, there are proprietors, there are owners of blue chip companies. So it's all interrelated. So all what I'm saying is that while we are heading towards these things, we have to look at these niches, which not only brings the higher revenue, but also that it helps us to differentiate Sri Lanka, that there is always something different here and something value that you can get as against another country. Because I mean, like most of these corporate meetings have come to Sri Lanka because they have been to Singapore several times, they have been to Dubai several times, they have been to Malaysia, and they see but when you come to Sri Lanka, you always see something different, because I mean, you can't cover all the attractions within 10-15 days. So you have to come at least, there are Germans who have been to Sri Lanka more than 25-30 times, because every time they come, they go to some new place, and it's experiential tourism, because it's not sightseeing, it's not seeing, being, but you always want to experience something and to go back with a memory, a pleasant memory. And you wouldn't believe that now there are incentive programs that we are working on, that we engage these people during their holiday or the incentive tour. We get them for a few hours to engage in some kind of a CSI activity, to go and paint a classroom of a school or go and plant a tree. They feel good, we have done something nice, so when they return, they always remember this.
So you are putting a lot of emphasis on the experiential aspect to the whole thing.
Exactly.
And also your example about the Ramayana also, if that story was not there, it wouldn't have attracted that many tourists. So how important it is to look at history and make the relevant connections. So on a final note, Mr. Wanigasekera, what are your suggestions and what are your the feedback you can give to the general public also, in terms of what they can do to increase the number of tourists and help in in achieving these targets? Because we spoke about the role of the government in terms of the Convention Bureau and the other three sectors. So what can you tell the general public, the message?
Our message is that although it is not visible, the tourism authorities are putting a lot of effort. They are working long hours, they are working very hard. But suddenly the war has ended, you can't expect results overnight. Of course, we do have results already, because the numbers are increasing.